Hi guys, it's Joy. Welcome back. In this video today, I'm going to teach you how to change your reality by changing your identity. Because if you've been in manifestation communities for long enough, you should know by now that you don't manifest what you want. You don't manifest what you desire, but you manifest what you ultimately are. You manifest what you already are. Your identity is what makes up the reality that you experience in the 3D. So what you'll need to become aware of is obviously having the awareness to understand who you are being right now. Who are you? I feel like people don't ask themselves that question enough on a day-to-day basis. Who are you really? Spend some time thinking about that, and you will know what your identity is, your current identity is, when you think about what you think on a day-to-day basis, what you spend the bulk of your day doing and thinking about and focusing on. Where do you spend most of your energy? How do you react and respond and interpret the world around you and its circumstances? How do you react with other people? So think about who you are. Who are you right now in this current moment? Not who you want to be or who you think you are, but who are you really? You know, I realize a lot of the time we don't even know who we are. We just step into the role that the people around us push onto us and expect us to play. So be curious about yourself on a deeper level. Want to get to know yourself. Curiosity is a great thing, you know. Start to be curious about how you feel about yourself. What do you like about yourself? What do you dislike about yourself? What is the attitude that you have towards yourself? How do you carry yourself around people and in circumstances? Start noticing these things. There's an analogy that I want to share with you guys of an ice cube. Okay, your identity right now, it's like a block of ice. It's a cube of ice. Ice that is sculpted into a cube. When you change your identity, you are melting that block of ice back into water. And from that water, you are refreezing it into another shape. You are remolding that water into a sphere, a prism, a cylinder, pyramid, whatever shape it might be. So when you melt that ice of cube that you are right now, how do you know what shape to refreeze it back into? How do you know the identity that you want to take on next in this next chapter of your life? You'll have to start looking at your values. You'll have to decide what your values are. A fulfilling life is one that is lived authentically, which means you live in alignment with what is most important to you in this lifetime. What do you value the most? Some values that I can throw around right now are joy, growth, mastery, curiosity, fear. That could be a value that some people really prioritize. Trust, wisdom, intelligence, all these different values. You can search up a list on the internet and decide which ones call out the most to you, which ones speak to your soul the most. And after doing that, you'll have a better idea of what type of person, what type of role, how this person that you want to step into next is going to look like. The next part, I need you to understand that your identity is not solid. I feel like a lot of people see themselves as a static, set in stone type of thing that is very hard to change. That could be true. It could be very hard to change your identity if you believe it is very hard to change and set in stone. So this mindset that you will have to adopt if you want to make this process easier for yourself is that change can be easy. Well, not easy, but you can allow yourself to be open to changing. You can allow yourself to open up to different identities, and you can realize that you do not have to stay a cube, a metaphorical cube, for the rest of your life. You are moldable, you are changeable, you are flexible like water. Because this belief in how strongly you identify with your identity is going to determine how easy or how difficult you make this process for yourself be. If you believe that changing my identity is going to be really difficult for me because I have XYZ condition, I've got childhood trauma, I've got all these deep-rooted subconscious things that are stuck within me, that is probably the reality that you are going to experience. You are going to experience a reality that feels very resistant. It feels like you're fighting a lot of things internally. And that's not denying the existence of those things like trauma or whatever condition you might have. Those things are very much, very real. But that is simply going to be the reality that you experience when you are very strongly attached to those conditions that you put on yourself as to why it is going to be very difficult for you to change or have a new identity. Your attachment to your current identity is what's holding you back from shifting into a new and better identity for yourself, and therefore manifesting a new and desired reality for yourself as well. So for you to actually detach from your current identity, you need to understand, why is it so hard for me to let go of my current identity? Why is it not safe enough for me yet? Because ultimately, this current identity that you are holding on to, you find value in it. You find comfort in it. You find familiarity in it. Otherwise, you would not be staying in this identity, right? If you found no value in it at all. Start thinking and reflecting on the ways that this identity offers you an illusion of safety. Most of the time it is an illusion. Sometimes it can be actual reality. But let's say, for example, you're in a relationship and you feel like all men are trash. You feel like men are out to hurt you. Men are out to use you and abuse you. A very extreme perspective, but just an example. This most likely will not feel safe for you to let go of these beliefs, these assumptions, if this is you and if you can relate. Because once you let go of them, the idea is, the illusion that you have is that men will come out and hurt you if you let go of the belief that men are out to hurt you. Does that make sense? This belief, this assumption, this identity does not feel safe enough for you to let go of, because you believe it. You believe that once you stop feeling and believing this, then men indeed are going to come out and hurt you. And this belief, this assumption is what protects you from that. If I let go of this belief, then men are going to literally ruin my life. A very out of pocket example, but it might be relatable to some of you guys. You hold on to this because you believe this is what protects you. You believe that holding on to this identity will protect you from the actual experience yourself. And once you let go of this identity, then it feels like you are unsafe now. It feels like you are more vulnerable. So for you to actually break free from this identity, you need to start challenging it. You need to start challenging the illusions that you impose on yourself and breaking out of them and creating safety in the new identity that you want to have for yourself. Teaching yourself that it is indeed okay to let go of my old identity, and men will not actually come out and hurt me once I let go of these beliefs. Just an example, by the way. But, however, if something like fear is your core value, then you could argue that being fearful all the time, being anxious all the time, is being true to yourself and is being authentic in a way. So if that is you, then I guess there is no need to change it. But if acting from fear, you know that it is not one of your core values, you know that it is not something that you want to live your life with, then recognize that it is time for you to change. It is time for you to shatter that old illusion that you have around the safety you've created in that old identity and break out of that. If you want a new identity, there is no other way but for you to leave the old identity behind. You cannot have one foot in, one foot out. It does not really work that way unless you want to be double-minded and constantly flipping thoughts and living in two extremes of the spectrum. Not a very pleasant experience, let me tell you that. But you have to give yourself the grace, give yourself the safety, give yourself the understanding that you need in order for you to let go of that old identity. And why am I talking so much about this? Because too often are people trying to step into a new identity, trying to make a 180 change, and then they wonder, Why am I self-sabotaging? Why am I going back to my old identity all the time? It's because you haven't truly felt safe enough to leave that old identity. So by leaving that old identity behind, you create a better foundation for yourself, and you set yourself up for success, because you are less likely to sabotage the growth, the changes that you make later on down the line when you are less attached to this old identity. Let me quickly touch on what it involves to shift into your new identity as well. So you will need to know what your values are. First of all, this is how you stay true to yourself. This is how you stay authentic and lead an authentic life that is actually fulfilling, instead of changing an identity to fit an expectation for other people, or trying to be someone for someone else instead of being someone that you actually want to be. Start to think about what kind of person you want to be, not what other people want you to be. And I'd say pick around 5 core values. Don't get too overboard with them, because they can get too much. Start thinking about how you would live life if you were living true to these 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 core values that you've picked out for yourself, right? So let's say love is your core value. How much do you actually allow yourself to feel love on a day-to-day basis? How much of your day is actually spent like someone who has a lot of love to give, and a lot of love, and open to receiving a lot of love? How would you be carrying yourself? How would you be showing up, and what would you be doing? Would you be running away in fear? Would you be leaning into trust and love? Same applies for abundance, wealth, money, health, anything really. Start picking out something that actually feels believable for you as well. So if you want to manifest money, let's say you've been relatively broke most of your life, you can't really expect yourself to, suddenly make a 180 shift. Well, you can, but it is a very big expectation and pressure. If you've been broke for a long time and you suddenly tell yourself to start thinking like a multi-billionaire, right? It's a very big jump, and often when the jump is too big, you can end up fluctuating too much by going from one end to the other end and not really being able to find a balance or a middle ground. So pick out something that feels relatively believable and achievable for you, and that way you'll make it less likely to fall off track, and more easy for yourself to just be consistent. It is better to be consistent with a tiny change than it is to be completely inconsistent with a huge change that you can only shift into here and there once in a while. And lastly, make a promise to yourself that you will invest a little bit of energy, a little bit of time every day into tapping into this new desired identity that you want to embody. Whether it's through feeling it, being it, acting it, doing actions that serve you or push you towards this new identity, whatever it might be, make that promise and commitment to yourself, because this is an investment for your future. Essentially, you are setting yourself up. You are ensuring, guaranteeing that in the future you get to live a better you, and as a result you get to live a better reality, a better life, and you deserve that. You deserve that. You are doing this for the sake of providing this for yourself, a fulfilling future, and even a fulfilling present moment to live. No one can do this work for you. So you have to step up, take initiative, be active in this journey, and start implementing the changes that you actually want to make. Out of self-love and out of self-respect, not out of shame. Because if there's room for improvement, if there's room to be better, if there's room to feel better and be better, why not pursue that? Why settle for mediocre? Unless you are happy with mediocre, no shame against that as well. But if you are watching these videos, I'm most likely assuming that you want to create a life for yourself that is indeed magical, like a dream. You want to create a reality that feels just like a dream. That's what my videos are here for. If you enjoy this video, let me know. But I will catch you guys very soon, hopefully. And take care. Talk soon. See you guys later. Bye.